Good morning, everyone. How many of you know what a snow globe is? Most of you? Okay. Never know these days about stuff like that. I had a really cool snow globe that I actually gave away a couple years ago. And it was a commemorative snow globe that depicted a hockey game, an outdoor hockey game. It's one of the Winter Classic NHL games. And I think it was from the first one that was in Buffalo. And actually, I got to go to that one. It's the Penguins, my favorite team, and the Sabres. And it was, January in Buffalo. And it was like being in an actual snow globe. It was snowy, and they had to stop the game a bunch of times to clear the ice of snow. And so I got a gift. Somebody, I can't remember who got it for me, got me the snow globe that had like two little hockey players, and one was in like a Penguins jersey and one was in a Sabres jersey. And I think there was a replica of the stadium, and then the bits of snow. And, you played with a snow globe. If you shake it up, there's all the little, particles that look like snow. And, if you set it down after a while, it settles. Actually wound up giving that away a couple years ago, and before that, one of the hockey players kind of broke and was just like floating in there too. So when you like shook up the snow, there was like a hockey player in the sky too. I've always felt bad. I think hopefully it was one of the Sabres, not one of the Penguins. This week, the phrase "karmic tendencies" has been stuck in my head. And karmic tendencies is a phrase that sometimes Buddhists use to describe kind of like habits or echoes of the past, our past behavior that in similar circumstances sort of come up and might incline us to act in habitual ways that we have in the past. So, based on your past actions and consequences, it's sort of like this, template that comes up, your karma comes up, and you might have a habitual tendencies to act in certain ways. And got me thinking about snow globes and how when you shake up a snow globe, like if you were inside that snow globe and things were shook up, all sorts of white particles would be obscuring your view. And over time, if our lives are like a snow globe, life and our own behavior puts like extra particles inside of our snow globe. And in certain situations and circumstances, that might get stirred up. And if we're not aware of it, can really impact our perspective and what we think is real and what we think we need to do and even who we are. And we've all got karmic tendencies, unique karmic tendencies based on, things that happened to us even before we were born, even before there was a we, our genetics and shared history and sometimes it's hard to know who you are and what's real depending on circumstances, because our karma gets in the way and obscures us, and we can't even. Sometimes it's like the some snow globes have that like glittery, reflective snow, so it's almost like we're seeing these reflections of our past and confuse that with ourselves. And so Zazen practice is very much like we set the snow globe down in an upright position and just leave it. And sometimes what happens is our karmic tendencies sort of settle, and then we can actually see reality in a different way. It's not like they go anywhere. We still can be aware of them, but something else emerges. We can actually see the difference between our karma and the emotions and thoughts that come with it and the rest of reality. But sometimes even being upright in a Zazen posture and letting things go and practicing, it doesn't result in the settling, because we can't be apart from the rest of reality. So just like if you put that snow globe on a shelf and there's an earthquake or something, you might get shook up. Or if it was really cold, the water inside might freeze a little bit. So we don't always get a choice about, or even experience the same results when we sit Zazen, when we're upright. And even if we do practice sitting and letting things settle, we have to get up and do. We're sort of mobile, sentient snow globes, so we have to get up and do things, and then our karma gets sort of stirred up again. And I think that sometimes we can fall into the trap of thinking that there's this point in our practice where we have practiced enough where all of our karma, the bits of fake snow and the snow globe go away, or things are sort of a permanently settled state. And that is somehow enlightenment. But in fact, the settling is not the thing. It's the being upright and the awareness of the fact that we have karmic tendencies. And when we become more aware of that and know that we are deluded, then we have a choice about what we want to do. Do we want to respond from that place? Or do we just notice when we are kind of stirred up and distracted and our right view is obscured, and instead of responding, know that maybe is a time to not respond, to let things settle a little bit. Hoetsu Sensei is often says when there's a question that he's kind of not sure he doesn't have an answer to, or not sure what to do, he'll often say, I need to sit with that for a while. He says that a lot. And I really appreciate when he shares that out loud, because I think it's a really wonderful teaching that sometimes, maybe more than sometimes, maybe more often than we would like to admit, stopping and giving ourselves some time to sit with and settle might be the wisest and most compassionate action. And I think one of the reasons that the precepts is sort of stated in the grave precepts in sort of almost like a way about refraining from certain things, non-killing, non-lying, non-stealing, is that that deliberate sort of pause before reacting could be maybe the origin point of real compassion. That's what separates us, I think, from almost all other sentient beings. We have the capacity to delay. And that doesn't mean we always delay. Sometimes we do, respond quickly. But if we really look at our lives and are honest and we're not distracted by the snow in our snow globes, and sort of see that really, even in difficult situations that we might label an emergency, there isn't really an emergency. Because we already know that we know what the end of the story is. There's no escape from old age, sickness, and death. So what's the emergency? So we have time. Even if it's a moment to let things settle, we have time. There's another part about this that I think is important to consider also, and that's, every one of us has our own unique function and position in the Dharma. We have our own unique karmic tendencies and conditioned aspects of ourselves. And sometimes it might seem like that's who we are. That's our destiny. But if you look at the history of our ancestral teachers, for example, and all the human beings over the millennia who have practiced the way, there's been all different types of people from all different cultures and races and backgrounds, all different individuals with different histories and karmic tendencies, and everyone has found a way to sit upright and practice the way. Liberation in the Buddhist sense is not getting rid of or even transcending, going above your karma. It's living right inside of it. So regardless of your circumstances, who you believe you are, who other people say you are, what your genetics say you are not merely those things. That, I think, is the most beautiful and radical message of our practice, that if you are willing to practice, that's all there is. It's just practice. So, I don't know. We aren't snow globes. And certainly we aren't living in snow globes. It's a silly metaphor. One thing that I think we can maybe learn from, these types of metaphors is a way of seeing what's happening inside and the circumstances of our lives in a different way. And a way to sort of practice with them a bit differently. So whatever the condition of your snow globe is at the moment, just know that there really aren't any optimal or suboptimal conditions for being upright. That any condition, any amount of fake snow swirling around inside of you in your experience is just fine. In fact, it might even be best to practice when everything is stirred up. Then you get to start to really practice this action that really, is the enlightened action we're all hoping to bring to the world, which is being exactly as we are, conditions exactly as they are, and making a choice about how we want to be. So I really appreciate all of you being here today and practicing being upright with me in whatever circumstances are happening in your life right now. And that's why we do this every single day, so that we don't have, we don't just sort of cherry pick the best circumstances or the easiest ones. We sit and we sit and we sit, regardless of circumstances. I really hope that plastic hockey player that got dislodged is doing okay these days.